Fantastic. All right, let's roll right into our 417th meeting of the Satellite Rotary Club of Military Family Support. So excited to have everybody out today. Josh, I know you're muted, but thankful that you are here. We love the background, not as much as Raymond's, but that is fantastic. It does look warm. We just slide like, hey, we had a great time at the last meeting. We'll touch on that later. Let's jump right into our flag salute. That way we'll get going. Right before everybody starts eating. All right, John. There you go. All right, gentlemen, return to those pizzas and those beers. All right. Before you guys jump into that food, let's go ahead and say everybody that's here tonight, because Glenn wants to eat. Let's just say real quick. Glenn is here. No, I know. Barry's here. I was waiting for him to say it. And Bella looks like she has something to actually say.
I'll do it right since I'm not stuffing my face with pizza. I'm Bella Foster, the current secretary of the Satellite Rotary Club of Military Family Support. Who are you?
And I am the person that exists in this area. No, I'm the chairman. My name is Dominic Torres over here at High Point Brewing, and excited to have everyone here tonight, including Raymond Foster, who apparently disappeared. With that said, we've done our introductions, and we're excited to have Joshua Baker here, and a little bit about him. Fantastic. He's the state president, Area 7 of the California Enlisted Association of the National Guard of the United States. The Enlisted Association of the National Guard of the United States, I would say that. EANGUS, probably got that wrong. Objective is to further the, that's correct? I'll take it. All right, nailed it. The enlisted personnel of the Army and the Air National Guard through the legislation process and to the administer the support services necessary to carry out that objective. The Enlisted Association of the National Guard of the United States, EANGUS, was conceived in the 1970s when a group of enlisted members of the National Guard met to consider ways and means of increasing the voice of the enlisted personnel in the support of making the Guard a more effective arm of the national defense. As a result, 3 early meetings, the formal organization of EANGUS was accomplished in 1972 with 23 states signing on as a charter members. In the ensuing 15 years, charters have been granted to all 55 states and territories. EANGUS today is a national organization in every respect, with the national headquarters and the full-time staff situated in Alexandria, Virginia. And with that said, I'd love to introduce Joshua Baker. Take it away.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
So thanks for having me today. And just to tell you a little bit about EANGUS and CalENGUS. So as was mentioned in the intro, each state and territory has its own, essentially its own chapter. So I am the president of the California chapter of the EANGUS Association. We just call it CalENGUS, which is the California Enlisted Association of the National Guard of the United States. So we just call it CalENGUS. And then I'm also one of the area directors for EANGUS. So I have lots of different hats, lots of things I do. But starting off, talking a little bit more about EANGUS, why we exist. So it goes more specifically into advocating and educating our lawmakers on what the National Guard does. So a lot of the times our lawmakers will pass laws. Okay, we want to help our military, and they'll pass something, but forget about the National Guard. So some of the things we're fighting with is, medical coverage, having the ability to, for our guardsmen to have adequate medical coverage. So something that we're going to fight in the 2023 NDAA is TRICARE, which is our medical coverage for all, period. So that's something that we don't have right now. So we can pay into TRICARE, but it's something that comes out of pocket. And so what we're looking at doing is providing free medical coverage for our National Guardsmen, because a large majority of them don't have medical coverage or it's lacking. And because of that, they're not able to get medically ready to deploy either, nationally or to go and defend the state. And with California, our California National Guard, we have 4 seasons: our fires, floods, earthquakes, and riots. And now we have this new one, the virus that shall not be named. So our National Guard is busy, and if they're not medically ready, then they can't go out the door and go help support the state and nation. So that's a bigger one, just kind of a sample of what we do on the EANGUS side. So that is one of the bigger priorities. Some of the stuff that we've done in the past, there was a time that National Guardsmen, they weren't allowed to use the commissary. And then through time and legislation, they got a little pink stamp card. I don't know if any of you old National Guardsmen might be in the room, or a little history of your little pink stamp card. So you're able to go to the commissary twice a month, 24 times in a year, and you get a little stamp every time that you went to the commissary. A privilege that lawmakers and the powers that be thought that the National Guard and Reserves shouldn't have access to the commissary. But through legislation, through programs like EANGUS, now National Guardsmen have that. Now National Guardsmen have the ability to use TRICARE. I have to pay into it, but that's another thing that Guardsmen have because of things like EANGUS. And then on the state side for California, so more specifically to California, we fight for California benefits. So some of the things that we've done recently, we just had the governor sign one of my bills about a month and a half ago. So it was written in the California Military Veterans Code that state employees, like your CAL FIRE, your CHP, any of our military forces that are in a state status, it was written in the Veterans Code that you could not use your military leave to go do military training if it was not on your day off. So what you'd have to do if you're going to drill, and if it was not on your day off, it was like a Thursday, Friday, you'd have to take personal leave, or you'd have to go on LWOP in order to attend military training, even though you have a military leave bank. So that was brought to our attention, and then drafted legislation and went through the wickets that legislation does, and it was eventually signed by the governor that now our state employees can use military leave to go do military training. Novel concept. But that's, if you're aware of California, sometimes we're a little behind the times when it comes to legislation. So that was a big win for us. Other bills that we've done in the past, so we've sponsored and supported the hunting and fishing licenses for disabled veterans. Another one that we're very proud of that we've championed is, so our military members, our National Guardsmen, if you are a truck driver by trade, your 88 mics, you can go and take all of that certification that you're given through the military and go to the DMV, and you get that express lane service to get your commercial driver's license, because you've already done all of these things through the military. You've done all of your, I'm going to just start because I'm not a truck driver. I'm sure there's air brakes and all these other things, all these requirements that you have to do. You've already done them. So that was a big win for us. And then we've also championed bills as it pertains to education benefits for our National Guardsmen. So California doesn't really have a lot of benefits for National Guardsmen. Something that CalANGUS is a member of the CSCVC, the California State Veterans Commanders Council. And so that is an organization that all of your California military veteran organizations all come together and collaborate. So that's your American Legion of California, your VFW of California, your Purple Hearts of California, your submariners, every VSO that you can think of, we're all a member of this organization, because then we act as one unified voice in Sacramento. And so one of the bigger things that we're trying to champion and push for this year is not taxing military pensions. There's only one state in the nation now that does not do anything for military pensions. Can you guess which state that might be? You're living in it. So a bill did go through the last legislative session, and it died in appropriations. And mostly it was because when the governor made his budget for this current year didn't take into account that bill. And so we've been sending the governor love letters from all of our respective agencies, encouraging him that when he drafts his budget, that you take this into consideration so that when this bill comes again in the next legislative year, that it's already accounted for. And then for EANGUS, we do a lot of, we kind of support our own internal organizations when it comes to our youth programs. The California Military Department does house a youth programs section when it comes to, serving our community's youth, where they have those youth programs, the youth schools that catch them if they're not successfully passing their high school classes. They can enroll in these programs that's in coordination and collaboration with the military and a local school, like our Discovery programs or Oakland Military Institute. California has a huge challenge program is what it's called. And so we've been reaching out and supporting them, either like their track and field program, buying the kids shoes, because a lot of these schools are in areas where they probably can't afford the right amount or the right, gear when it comes to their track and field program. And sponsoring like family day events. And so speaking to our National Guardsmen, as we saw the price of gas skyrocket, reaching out to our family advocacy people that are out in the field, that they were getting a lot of requests for gas cards and grocery cards. And so EANGUS went and purchased, what was it, $7,500 worth of gas cards, and about $5,000 worth of Walmart gift cards, so that when those family programs did encounter those soldiers and airmen, that they're able to turn around and at least give them something, right? And then as they're working through different programs, like going through the Rotary or going through the American Legion, going through those different community resources, that we're at least putting a Band-Aid on it to help them get to that next bigger solution. So that is kind of in a nutshell what we do for EANGUS wise. Have you guys ever heard of EANGUS before? Nope, most people haven't. And so you think of like your big military organizations, like I said, your American Legion, your BFW, and those kind of cater to mostly the retired folks, the ones that are still in when it comes to like Air Forces, your Air Force Sergeants Association, your Air Force Association, your Association United States Army, and they all kind of have their little niche caveats of things that they fight for legislatively. EANGUS, we're the only association that solely fights for enlisted National Guardsmen. And so having that advocacy and speaking to National Guardsmen, there's two organizations that primarily advocate for National Guardsmen. There's us, EANGUS, and then there's the National Guard Association of the United States, NAUGUS. And they do have set up very similar to us, where they have different chapters. But the biggest difference between NAUGUS and EANGUS is EANGUS, we look at and advocate for benefits, entitlements, and more on the personnel side, whereas NAUGUS will advocate more for equipment. Like a good example would be, if like one of our 5 wings, if they were going to lose an airframe to an active duty component, well, that requires some legislation to secure that funding. And we would advocate more for keeping that airframe and keeping it with the National Guard resource than giving it to an active duty resource, or advocating for another airframe or better equipment, newer equipment, because if you remember in the olden days, the National Guard was treated like, here's your leftover stuff, and that's what you're going to go to war with. Any questions for me?
All right, well, I know out of the gate, I know Raymond has questions, so he always does. So Raymond, just jump right in there. We know you have them.
Wow, thanks. I don't know if is that a good reputation or not? Hey, so Josh, the Satellite Rotary Club Military Family Support, was formed around the issue of food insecurity.
Okay.
At the, it started with 29 Palms last year. The Rotary Club and the Masonic Lodge and a variety of others raised 5 tons of food, which we took out to the Pelican Pantry, and they ran out of food real quick. So this club was formed up for the purpose of creating a sort of a permanent resupply to the food pantry for military families. And when the bylaws were written, they were broad enough because they include, our understanding is not only do 22,000 military active duty families suffer from food insecurity, but 213,000 guardsmen and reservists also, as well as 1.2 million veterans. So we're really focused in on food insecurity, and the next food drive is already begun, but the collection date will be March 11th in 2023. Now here's my question. Currently, in what you do, is there a difference in your lobbying efforts for guardsmen and reservists, or is that term synonymous for your issues?
So it depends. So for example, the bill that we just had signed, it was marketed as, and the thought was that it was just for guardsmen, but as it was signed and looking back at the Military Veterans Code, it goes to guardsmen and reservists. So it sometimes our guardsmen and reservists are kind of lumped in because we're considered the reserve component. And so as they refer to us, they refer to us as a reserve component. And that's depending on the legislation that's written on the state or the national side, we kind of get lumped in at the same time. But reservists don't have like a state, they're not like guardsmen, right? Because I'm assigned, I answer to Governor Newsom first and then the president next, right? So I have 2 masters as a guardsman, where the reservists just have the one.
Yeah, because the Navy has reservists, but no guardsmen.
Right.
And I just wondered how you guys work that out as far as lobbying efforts go. Second, do you do any work with the State Military Reserve, which is, and if you do, can you describe what you do with them? Because that's really, only 22 states have this, and it's really an odd little thing, isn't it?
It is. So I used to work in the State National Guard headquarters full time. So I have a very vast knowledge of, so we don't call them the State Military Reserve. We call them our California State Guardsmen, or CSGs. Okay. And so, yes, so they are the true militia. As you know, if you know your history, they are the true militia, that they go out. My wife refers to them as they are the OG gangsters, because they will go out and do the same thing that I do, but I get paid for it. They'll go do it for free. But they are essentially, they take their knowledge and their resources and they go out and do it for free 9 times out of 10. There is a caveat where they could be put in a paid status if they're in an emergency state active duty status. So, when we were thrown into the pandemic, thanks to the thing that shall not be named, and we started activating all these our organizations in a state status before we were federally activated. A lot of those CSGs were activated in a state status because they're considered state employees. And so that's a way for them to be in a paid status during fires and any other state activations where the governor says, okay, I'm activating you, state of emergency, green light, go. And then, the money faucet turns on and our CSGs can get activated that way.
So my last question, and I'll turn it back over to Dominic. As we move forward with this next food drive, may we send you a copy of the flyer? Perhaps you could assist us in distributing it. We hit about 200 American Legions, about 50 VFWs, 300 Masonic Lodges. I don't know if you're familiar with Star Post 309. It's the LA County Sheriff's American Legion Post. It's a big one here in Southern California.
It is. And
they're our partner on this, as well as the Rotary and a couple of other organizations. And we're looking to raise essentially for 29 Palms, 3.5 to 4 tons every 6 months. Wow. For the Marine and Navy families out there. And once we solidify this, we're looking to reach out and say, okay, what's next? What's Irwin? What's going on at Pendleton? What's going on? I don't know, maybe as far north as, I don't know if they still use Camp Roberts. It's been a while.
Yes. It is alive and well. I'm an Air National Guardsman, so I don't typically go to Camp Roberts because the standard of living there is below an Air Force threshold. But
Okay.
it's still alive and well. And as you're talking about this too, maybe think about the armories, because you have armories scattered throughout our communities everywhere. And then in California, we have 5 Air National Guard bases that, and I know I was just at the Fresno Air National Guard base about a month and a half ago, and they have their own food pantry that is stocked by their local American Legion. The Fresno American Legion, and the partnership that those two have is amazing. I was there for a promotion, and more than half of the crowd, and it was a huge crowd, was people that were American Legion. Just amazing. But tangent.
Do you live up north, Josh?
I live in Folsom.
Oh, nice.
Famous for Johnny Cash and the prison.
You had a great prison there.
Yes.
I was wondering, if I shoot you an email, maybe we can talk on the phone for an hour, and you could kind of school me on National Guard stuff, contacts, and we can exchange information, and I can share that with the Satellite Rotary Club. Would that be something you'd be willing to do?
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're talking about this, Jennifer Lucero, I don't know if you've spoken with her. She is our California Military Department Family Readiness head person, director. She's the director. And so she would be the one that, if you're thinking about, expanding it even further to include our National Guard armories and the wings, she would be that belly button that we can go, okay, if you're, talking about LA, here's our map of, our LA armories that we have family readiness people and that will have that food pantry, right?
Okay.
That will have a section and the need, because I can guarantee you, as you're talking about, the active duty, the Marines, the Navy, the Army, the Air Force that are down in the LA area. I guarantee you there are National Guardsmen that are going without, because we are supporting, where I had a figure up here. So nationally, EANGUS also does grants and loans to our members and our guardsmen that are, in financial, constraints. So when I talked to our program manager about a month ago, it was they did 34 different grants and or loans totaling over $20,000 just for California. And this is a national program. So
Okay,
they are in need.
I will turn it over to Dominic, and with your permission, Dom, I'm going to follow up with Josh.
Oh, I'd love to bother Josh for an hour on the phone. It's absolutely fantastic.
Okay.
That's what I do, and I'm happy to do it. It's what I do is, I try to bring as many organizations together. Like I said, with that, the California State Military Veterans Council, that might be something to plug into as well. And to get in contact with those folks, so you can, be in those groups, and you're already going to have people on there with. That's how I know the Star Post, because
and Josh, I was already thinking that this Satellite Rotary Club is the first Rotary Club in the 110 years of Rotary to be formed without a geographic designation. It doesn't say Rotary Club of San Dimas, Rotary Club of Glendora, Rotary Club of Folsom. It's the Satellite Rotary Club of Military Family Support. So it would be perfect to have at least attend some of those meetings in an ad hoc fashion to be a contributor and find out what's going on. So yes, that's one of the things we need to talk for quite a while, I think.
Yep. Let me get you plugged in.
Excellent.
Fantastic. All right, with that said, thank you, Josh. We appreciate it. Hang out for a while. So we have to find each other about and have a little bit of fun with. All right, we're going to jump right into our Find Master time. And I was told I have to find myself $10 for not being at the extravaganza. I heard it came from Raymond, but I guess that's okay, because I was also told to fine Raymond for doing such a good job of selling tickets while he was there on the mic at the extravaganza.
Yeah, we sold $660 worth of tickets on that evening.
Well, that's what I was told right there. To fine you $10 for doing too good of a job.
Okay. Oh, so I get $10. All right. I can get $10.
Well, I'm doing 10 for not being there. But at the same time, I have to also find Isabel for not being there on Tuesday when we spoke with our fine, I don't want to say students, but the children that went to our leadership camps that we were able to raise money for and hear all about and how they did. And it was fantastic to actually see all that hard work into action, because those kids seem to have a phenomenal time with what they were learning and how they are getting along. Raymond, anything on that?
Is it still Fine Master time?
No, I was gonna say, how did you enjoy it? That was the last of the Fine Master. I was gonna say, what's that? Oh, well, I'll let anyone find themselves. Yeah, including Mike Wallace for just, saying he was gonna be here, but not here right now. That's fantastic. Go ahead, Mike.
No,
There you are.
he's walked away. I want to find Barry Letzler. I'm finding Barry Letzler $10 because it's my 7th day without a cigarette.
Well, there you are. 7.
So Barry, it's $10 for Barry. Tell Barry to give you $10.
We need $10 to our sold. Anyone else want to find themselves? Glenn? Go. Well, there you are. Glenn's gonna find himself $10 for not knowing that the National Guard didn't have TRICARE. So right now we're getting halfway decent. And then there's Mr. Wallace. He jumps right in. I don't know. I just thought maybe he just wanted to throw something out there.
Sorry about that. We're having an issue here at the house that needed immediate attention.
So should we fine you $10 for that immediate attention?
Yeah, that's fine. It
All right,
probably
Mike
won't be
Wallace.
as much as the bill for what broke, but that's fine.
That's also fair. All right, so it sounds like we had halfway decent this evening. We'll take that and we'll run. We're just gonna go right into the next thing before anyone disagrees with that. Isabel's got all of it now. So to our Victoria Bella diamond ring, worth $10,000, and it went to Chris Constantine. It was fantastic. Chris is our city manager of the city of San Dimas. So my understanding is that he put quite a few dollars in there for a man that needed the ring, but sure, why not? You know what I mean? Is he raffling off to his girlfriend? I'm not sure, but sure, why not? And it was a wonderful ring, and it was all our very pizza Christmas party in San Dimas on December 6th, which was just, it was a great time. Like that's what I was discussing earlier about having kids that came out and were able to, Scott did a fantastic job explaining what those kids went through with their cams and what the money paid for, which was just great to hear. I mean, you'd like to hear something like that all the time. So thank you for everyone that was there. We had a lot of fun. And ate pizza. Thanks, Mike, for bringing it. And I will say that Raymond did a phenomenal job of moving us along into Scott to get everything done with that also. So with that said, we'll move into our memorial brick. Now, I have a photo, but I don't have a photo. This is what we got from Raymond. Am I wrong, Raymond? That's what you sent?
Yeah, that's correct. So that would be, it's a 20 by 28 by 8 by 8 memorial brick for the Cecil Field at the National Memorial POW and MIA Memorial in Jackson, Florida. But it'll say, instead of Cecil Field, it'll say Rotary International, it'll say Rotary Club of Military Family Support, San Dimas, California. You guys just need to vote, and that's what you want, and I will get it done. We missed the last round of bricks, but they'll do another round in January. And this is to fund the National POW MIA Memorial. And also, I will be going to City Council to encourage them to support HR 5297, which is the House resolution to create the National POW and MIA Memorial there in Jacksonville, Florida. So hopefully we get our City Council. I did write a letter on my behalf because Rotary, as Rotarians, we can't politically do stuff, but as individuals, we certainly can write letters. So I wrote Napolitano a letter, encourage her to support 5297, which expires with this Congress. However, next Congress, the Congress people from Florida will reintroduce the legislation, and hopefully we can get it done in the next 2 years. So that's it.
Is it 200 or 250?
Oh,
It's-
so there's a question on the floor that is it 200 or 250 for the break?
My understanding is 250. That's what you guys decided on.
Okay, 250 it is. So we have to vote on that 250, correct?
Mostly, I think you voted on that already. What I want you to do is approve the verbiage so I can order it up.
Got it. Got it. Shoot, man. No, it'll be from the satellite club. That's what will be on there to say that we did it. Fine question. Is it gonna be the Rotary like spokes, or are we looking at it to be the our logo actually for the
Well-
Rotary Club military?
You know, I haven't gotten the vector artwork on yours yet. Number one. Number two is I would recommend you use the Rotary International one until we get the color logo. They have that Rotary emblem. I think that would be a special order and cost more money. I'm not certain that it would be worth it. It's up to you
So
guys.
they'd have to do with what is already in their essentially their vector files.
I think
Rotary.
if you sent them vector artwork and you paid to have their laser guy do whatever they do, then they would probably do that. If that's what you want to do, I'll explore that for you also.
Right, but it'll be cheaper to have is the actual Rotary International. What you're saying?
Well, that's what I think you need to do until your logo comes out. Once your logo comes out, then we put it out there and wait till Rotary International does backflips because because of your logo. We'll work that. We got to work that out once you do it, though. Like we can't fight with somebody until we pick the fight. And merging your logo with what you want to do so it is military oriented, you're infringing upon a trademark, yet you've been given permission to use the trademark within certain parameters. And so what's going to happen is there's going to be a battle between me probably and Nick Taylor at Rotary International. But until you do that, we can't have that fight. It's not been picked yet. We know it's coming.
All right, so then with that said, we're looking at what Isabel just said, which is the Rotary International, San Dimas, Saddle Military Club, 2022 on there.
That's what you're looking at. Yes.
Yeah, I'd make a motion that we approve the verbiage as stated with the Rotary International logo.
Right. Isabel seconds. And it passes. All in favor? Aye, the ayes have it. Nick Dwyer. Oh, we're so official. There you are. All right, so then with that said, we'll move forward with that. Let's check that out. And we got the memorial brick, boom. All right, club assembly in January, it'll be on the 11th. And it's, sorry? Oh, all right, well, January 11th is what I, joint board meeting / election of officers for 2023. So that's what we're looking at in the coming year here. That's right around the corner. Yeah, we need a new me and a new Isabel, and then we keep moving forward. All right, let's throw that out there. And then with our 29 Palms Resupply Committee, we'll have a meeting on January 24th. As we get closer to a food drive date, we'll need more volunteers. Come to the Zoom meeting and see if there's anything you'd like to help with, and we can move this along. You know, they're rather quick meetings, but it's something we can use the volunteers to get done. So. All right, then we'll slide it right into our calendar. Wednesday, January 4th, 12 to 1, the St. Dimas Rotary Club Zoom meeting with Speaker Ryan Backman, founder / executive director of the Project Cold Case. Project Cold Case is a one-of-kind organization that was born out of the desire to serve families that have lost loved ones to unsolved homicides. Let's just say, think like, unsolved mysteries, same idea. With that, we're gonna go into Wednesday, January 4th, still from 6 to 7. And that's for the Satellite Club hybrid meeting with the speaker from Coach's Pit Barbecue and his Veterans Barbecue program. We reached out to them. As Raymond had asked me to do the other day, reach out to them. I'm still waiting for a comment back. They are open to be here. But kind of on radio silence on us at the moment. So, but they do have the invitation to be here. So we'll see how that goes. Let's go to be determined on that one right now because they have it, but I haven't heard anything back in the past couple of days. And then January 11th from 6 to 7:30, we have an in-person club assembly with elections. All right. And my next closed. And then January 18th from 6 to 8, we have the teacher mini grant presentation. It's going to be in person. We're still trying to determine where that location will be.
You waiting for me to say something?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna do.
Rotary. I would love for it to be in a smaller location, like a senior center, but hey, wherever we're looking at.
We're gonna do club assembly at High Point on the 11th. So that's for both clubs will be meeting in person on the 11th. And then on the 18th, we're gonna go back to Elba. And Elba is going to supply kind of hors d'oeuvres for the teachers. And we'll use that same room as we hand out the mini grants and celebrate them. So that'll be at Elba. Perfect.
So that's been confirmed though.
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay, so now we know for sure. On the 11th, it'll be at High Point, and on the 18th, it'll be at Elba. Fantastic. And then once again, on the Tuesday, January 24th, from 6 to 8, we are looking at a 29 Palms Resupply Committee meeting via Zoom. Once again, those meetings are quick, so if you can find yourself there, that'd be wonderful. And then we look at Wednesday, January 25th from 12 to 1. St. Dimas Rotary Club. We'll have a Zoom meeting with speaker Steve Sharp of the Three Angels of Haiti. The Three Angels Children's Relief is a ministry that serves orphans and at-risk families in Haiti. Their mission is to help children in Haiti escape poverty so that they may experience God's love, become part of a healthy home, and grow into who they are called to be. So that will be, once again, January 25th, Wednesday from 12 to 1, the St. Dimas Rotary. Then we have a 4-way test. And the only person that can do a 4-way test is the person that showed up the latest 4-set test. And that person will be Mike Wallace. So Mr. Wallace, take it away.
All right, I didn't know I was the latest, just the least present. But anyways. All right, so the 4-way test is a test developed by Rotarians. It's an ethical test of everything that we think, say, and do. And the 4-way test is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Oh, Raymond's sharing a screen. Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And I like to think of this as a 4-way stop, an intersection where you have to pass all 4 of those tests because you can kind of play that mental gymnastics and say, well, I could say something rude and it's true. It is the truth, and maybe it's even fair, but it's not going to build goodwill or better friendships, and vice versa. So if it passes all 4 of those tests, then you know that you're acting ethically and you're going to be free to act on that. And that's today's four-way test.
Thank you, Mike. We appreciate that very much. Job well done. So that said, we're looking at closing remarks. We're just gonna first mention that Mike is drinking a Sierra Nevada hazelnut thing, not a High Point beer. We all appreciate that. Secondly, Mr. Baker, we appreciate you coming out. This is a organization I think that probably most of us here did not know existed, and we're more than elated to actually understand what that was going on. We didn't know, and now that we can advocate for it, that's even better.
And
So,
I'm curious, how did you find out about CalANGUS and Angus?
Oh, that is 100% Raymond, Mr. Investigator over here, 1,000 years in the police department, just dug deep and found you. I understand.
1,000 years.
How long have you been in the agency? All of them, all the years.
But no, Raymond's fantastic at finding people that we did not know were out there and bringing that to light. He's just done a phenomenal job with it. So we're very fortunate to have someone like that. Because like I said, I would not have known as a prior military service, like this is fantastic to know, like, oh wow, I didn't know this group was out here. But I'm happy to know that now because it's one more thing that I can advocate for, and the rest of us can too. So thank you, Raymond, but also thank you, Mr. Baker. We appreciate that. With
Thank
that
you.
said, I said let's look forward to all the meetings we have coming up. I look forward to seeing you guys out and about. Where is my notes that are right there, I assume? Okay, and with that said, let's not forget to pay our fines because I know we might walk off without doing so. Mike Walls, we accept Venmo, PayPal, and so on and so forth for those $10. Just wanted you to know. I guess you were worried about paying.
I actually don't think you do. I set Raymond up for a Rotary Venmo, but I'm not sure that ever got activated.
It did. We actually, people are paying their dues on it, and it's a real pain for me.
All right, well then I will definitely pay my fine through Venmo.
You know, that's even better. We're all excited about that. I'm excited to have that be the case.
Now you do know, Dominic, that the Rotary, the big Rotary Club, we pay our fines ahead of time. We actually cut a check at the beginning of the year for the whole year.
Oh, is
So
that right? So you know what you're being fined all year.
we do. We all agree to be fined $125 a year. So Mike and I've already written our checks. We're just
Yeah, I write a check in July, and then I just act like a big dog in the meeting and go, oh, I'm gonna find myself $50.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fantastic to know.
7 times.
So got it. So as we find you more and more, we just make sure to get past 125. That's fantastic to hear. Thank you for letting us know that.
And the good thing about that is then nobody has to track it.
Also fair. Got it. I like everything about that now that I know that. So something to think about for us here in this military club. It looks like it'll go that way. All right. Well, then with that said, remember that Mark's quick. We're gonna end up. Mike can tell you right now. He's got stuff in the basement of his office. I literally have stuff over here on top. Children's clothing already ready to go. Come March, that's gonna come real fast, especially with food and all the donations that we're already collecting from different legions to get over to 29 Palms. So let's really take that into consideration. Keep reaching out, and we're gonna keep moving forward with it because, as Raymond pointed out earlier, we're looking at, from what at least Patrick told us, it's gonna be 4 tons of food. When that hits, it's gonna be good till July. We can continuously keep moving it forward. That's what we need right now. We know right now they're doing halfway decent because come November, the OC areas was taking care of them. So let's just stay on top of it, and I really look forward to our next meeting because we continue to keep moving forward.
Dominic, before you close us out, Josh, do you mind putting your contact information in the chat? I'd like a little more information on that California bill that's trying to get passed for the veteran pensions, military pensions. Yeah, I'll send you an email so I can contact my representative and show my support for that.
You're muted, Josh.
I think after 2.5 years of this, we'd have it dialed in already. So like I said, that bill died in the Appropriations Committee. So as the new legislation starts gearing up. I saw my local assemblyman, he passed it, or he introduced his first bill today. So as that legislation is starting to get geared up, we'll, you know, make sure that our communities are well informed.
Oh, perfect. Thank you, Josh. Appreciate that you let us know. Like I said, we look forward to moving forward with it. Raymond will have 150, 670 questions for you. So get ready for that. Everything you could possibly think of. To be fair, Raymond has just wonderful intention in his heart. So he's going to do everything he can to figure out how we can help you the best we can. As he pointed out, we don't have an actual geographical area that is going to lock us down. So we would do what we can to make everything happen. So we look forward to that.
Right, and all of our organizations are helping each other, right? Because we're getting after trying to help our, you know, our military folks, our military families. That's what our intention is. It's everybody has their own different flavors of it. So specifically, mine's going to be for, you know, our National Guardsmen. But, you know, if we happen to help some active duty and, you know, Marines and, you know, Coasties that are in the mix, I'm helping people. I'm out here helping people. That's what we're doing. I'm trying to make my dent.
How true that statement is. That's yeah. You couldn't have said, I couldn't have said it better, to be frank. So thank you so much, Josh. We appreciate you coming out tonight. Everyone else, thank you so much. Look for that phone call, Josh. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you. Wrapping this evening up.